So thank you, everyone, to the second day of this year's Biocene. Really an outstanding event that we kicked off yesterday. I'm John Sankovic, the Executive Vice President at Parallax Advanced Research and the President here of the Ohio Aerospace Institute. So, last night I think was the perfect start to this activity. We got to see all the aspects of art and nature. The building was transformed with all the art and all the artists talking about their work. Wonderful reception. The building itself, this building was completed in 1992, and Richard Fleischman, the architect, really, is my understanding, built the building to move into two aspects. One was the industrial part. We're tied into NASA on the side, but if you come down Aerospace Parkway, you see the airport. And this room right here was themed in an aviation theme. This is supposed to be like the inside of an airliner. A lot of people have commented that we've kind of invented Economy Plus because the pitch is a little bit better in this room than it is on a normal airplane. But it also reaches out to nature. So we are really the highest point in this region, tying into the metro parks. This is where all the birds come and spend the summer, both on a positive and on a negative for us. And really the tie into the building and the evolution into the landscape, into the Rocky River Valley. And so I think it's a perfect place to kick off Biocene. A little bit on using an onion as our biomimicry model of the organizations we have here. So I mentioned Parallax Advanced Research. So we're part of Parallax. Parallax is a nonprofit pushing almost 200 people, really focused at that nexus of innovation and moving the solution of technologies for some of the nation's advanced problems. So working in things like the physical sciences, but moving all the way, spanning into AI, augmented reality, and understanding human-machine teaming. The Ohio Aerospace Institute, as I mentioned, the building was put together in 92. We were put together in 89, and really bringing together the leaders in government, academia, and industry to solve those activities in aviation and space. We work in three areas. Education as a nonprofit has always been extremely important to us. STEM is always very important to us, so it makes me feel great when we have students in here, educators in here, and thought leaders in this room. And then we have another aspect where most of our revenue comes from is our advanced R&D, so our own researchers working both for the Air Force and for NASA. And then very much that industry aspect. So we've been tied into understanding what industry is doing within the state and within the region, and now globally, but very much focused on the civil aviation part. So those of you who might not know, Ohio is the top supplier state to Boeing and to Airbus. It is critical to our economy, what this industry provides. And what's really been amazing is the greening up of the industry in the last 5 years. So every word out of every one of our major manufacturers talks about sustainability. You hear sustainable, and when they talk about fuel, you see sustainable in the language of the new platforms they're putting out. It's really been remarkable in the push of that entire industry to green up. And to that, we really resonate with what Great Lakes Biomimicry has been doing, and their affiliation with Great Lakes Biomimicry over the past few years has really given the Ohio Aerospace Institute that sustainable edge and that innovation edge. Personally, I've been involved with the group for 9 years now. This is almost exactly 9 years when the founders, Tom Tyrrell and Don Connectus, just happened to come into my office at NASA. We had a long discussion now that has lasted nearly a decade, Don. So thank you so much for that. We piloted a few projects, really got going a lot of grassroots activity at NASA Glenn, really the leaders in the agency in pioneering biomimicry and that thought process. And you'll see some of that today. My thanks, couldn't be enough thanks to Carol and Trisha, really pulling this thing together. It is absolutely fabulous. I know you're going to enjoy this program. Somehow every year it becomes better. I do have one ask of the group. So, when you come into this building in the morning, you got one more day to come in, or when you leave, There's a couple places you could approach us. I deeply ask that you come down on your GPS down Clegg Road and then in through the park. It is a completely different experience than if you wind through 237 down by the airport and around. You wouldn't even know there was a tree if you come that way. If you come the other way, it drops your blood pressure maybe about 10 points. So, if you think about going through that Rocky River Valley, think about the tulip poplars that are sitting there, the way those leaves are transformed as the wind speed goes up to reduce drag, perfect optimization, things that we look for in aerospace. You've got the folks you'll see fishing down there for steelhead, but if you pick your head up and look up on those cliffs, that's about 350 million years of geology. That is the site where our state fossil was found, Dunkleosteus, prehistoric fish. And then if you go to the Natural History Museum, actually the Field Museum in Chicago, you'll see that there's been biomimicry models put together of that. So that paleobiology, that paleobiomimicry of looking at that most intense bite strength of any animal that was known through those several billion years. And then as you come down, maybe take a look at the ground there, especially this time of year with the leaves. You get to see some of the mushrooms coming up, but think about the mycelium down there. And it was actually, I think it's the first Biocene where we had really that spark of innovation, and Chris Mauer's here with his company Red House Studios and the mycelium activity that he's doing and the innovation there, that those collisions of ideas between Chris, some folks at NASA Ames for some sustainable planetary habitats, some of the work that he's doing in Africa, the connections with MIT, all that started at this first biomimicry meeting. So hoping for that kind of magic in this meeting. I'll turn it over to my colleagues. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, John. So Great Lakes Biomimicry welcomes you. I'm Trisha Brown, and this is Carol Thaler, and we're co-directors of Great Lakes Biomimicry. We'd like to welcome the online audience, our friends to the north from Calgary and Winnipeg, and overseas in Germany, Ireland, Israel, Belgium, and also in the U.S. from Washington, D.C., Arizona, California, Ohio, Rhode Island, Colorado, Nebraska, California, and Michigan. Welcome to all of you who are here in person. You've come from as far away from Spain to our neighbors in Berea. We're so glad you're here. You being here is what makes Biocene so special. So just a couple of details about restrooms and things like that. If you up this aisle and around is restrooms, and also if you go through the atrium where the artwork is by the water fountain. We will start the sessions according to the time that's in the program. So if one ends early, you've got a little bit of time before we start. That's so the online audience knows when to come and go. So if one ends a little early, we'll just wait and we'll start at the designated times, and that will give our speakers of the next module time to get mic'd. We're happy to say and very proud to say we've got over 40 students attending, and that was a goal of ours, and we are really happy. They've got green name tags, which will help during our happy hour activity, which will be explained later. They come from University of Akron, Baldwin-Wallace, Oberlin, Case Western, and the Laurel School. Bios of all the speakers are in the program and the moderators, and they're there for your reference, so we're not going to go through bios as speakers come up. You can just read those on your own. Okay, let's get started. So Biocene is a conference where ideas, practice, and research in biomimicry come together to create conditions for an ecosystem to thrive. We are so pleased that you're here to explore bio-inspired materials together. It's our intention to help encourage and strengthen the network of people from varied disciplines to support developing bio-inspired innovation. As John pointed out, OEI is very invested in this effort because we believe that a perspective gained through looking through the lens of biomimicry can accelerate progress towards solving big challenges, while at the same time create an evolved economy that supports ecological, economic, and societal health. It is a false choice that society can have either a healthy economy or a healthy environment. We can create both. For Great Lakes Biomimicry, our big why is that we see biomimicry as a mindset that connects all the information in the natural world to countless solutions that can address the problems facing the Earth and us as a species. This is why we host Biocene. This is why we bring you all together.